Jy kyk na Goeiemôre, Good Morning. Anim Swart is 'n bekroonde atleet en uithou vermoë afrigter, bekend as 'n kampioen van die 4 Deserts Grand Slam reeks, uitdagings wat slegs die dapperstes en die taaistes ander. Met studies in sport, voeding en lewensafrigting inspireer sy mense om hul grense te verskuif. Maar Anim, ek dink die eerste ding is jy het jou eie grense verskuif. Hoe het hierdie eers begin? Hoe het dit jou eers gebyt?
Jong, dit het my gebyt toe ek baie jong was, want dan het ek begin hardloop.
Ja.
Maar om hierdie 4 deserts te hardloop, it took me a long time to get there. There was always something in me that was endurance driven. I started with the Ironman, and then, not that it's not challenging, believe me, but I needed something to be more challenging.
Okay.
And I also needed a big event in my life to push me into something to really test my limits. And it was the death of my father. So it pushed me to look for something that's going to, really test my resilience. And I found the 4 deserts.
From the Gobi Desert, Mongolia, to you've raced everywhere, the Arctic Circle. I guess you get this a lot, but I have to ask, I'm compelled to ask, what was the toughest of them all?
Yeah, actually, Antarctica was the toughest.
Why?
Because Antarctica is the climate is so different. You never know what's going to happen. So when it takes you 3 days to literally get into Antarctica, then you have to, the weather has to be perfect. They have to go
so
and
have you
set
got a
the
window
course.
to wait for the race to go, or do
Yes.
they? Okay.
No, you have a window. You can race at 3 in the afternoon, you can race at 6 in the morning. So you have to be ready all the time. And that is exhausting because we had to put on special clothing. You're not allowed to take food on the ice. There was a lot of rules in Antarctica, so it was extremely exhausting.
Een van die skrikwekkende dinge van die wedlope wat jy doen, hierdie massiewe ultrawedlope, is die Engelse term is so mooi, it's self-supported. You actually have to carry everything that you're going to need for days on end. How does one get your head around that, and how do you pack properly?
Well, if I can go back a little bit, the first time I ever did my first race in Namibia in 2019, my pack was 30 pounds. So
You learned, did you?
I learned. And the lightest pack I ended up with, I think it's about 12 kilos. So going from there to 7 kilos. You learn how to maximize in small things, like you cut your toothbrush this small. It might seem stupid, but a little bit makes a difference. And the way you eat your food, like we use wet wipes, you dry them out because water is too heavy. So you find all these little tricks of the trade, how to be able to stuff all of that into your backpack.
And one of the things that I always look at when you see the things that you've done physically is the mental side of it. And I see on the back of your book, you talk about the greatest challenge, the triggers of your childhood that surfaced. Is that part of what still drives you? And is that what gets you through the tough times? What I'm really saying is, show us a glimpse of what goes on in that head when it gets really, really tough, when you're saying to yourself, what the heck am I doing here?
Well, I think I'm still running away from it.
Okay.
That's why I'm running. But I used to run away from it. Now I run towards it. Because, yes, my mental toughness comes from a very tough upbringing. Father being in the military, you're either first or you're not second. It doesn't count. So there's no emotion involved, and you have to be, you become strong, you become mentally strong, but it also taxes you as a child. You're 6 years old, you're 7 years old, and you're not winning, and you don't understand. You do the best you can, and so you really have to kind of wrap your brain around it. You become very resilient in many ways. You adapt to situations, and I think that's why I was successful in these types of races. Even with the tough upbringing, it taught me a lot of things in order to deal with when I was very sick, when I had COVID, not during the races, after a race, and I had to prepare for the next race. So mentally, it does take a toll on you.
What do you use? Which tricks do you use when it gets really tough? Are there mantras? Are there people that you think of? Where do you go?
I just go in a zone of that I'm here where I want to be. This is my happy place. I'm loving what I do. I'm not being forced to do. The pain is just a byproduct of achieving your success. And people might think, I'm a little bit crazy, which is true.
I think you have
it's
to be a little
absolutely
off.
true.
Yeah.
But, I am a little bit off, but, it used to bother me. But the mental tricks that I do use is that you get to a point where you do believe in yourself. You have no doubt. You can't go into that emotional abyss, because the moment you go into that emotional abyss, it means failure. And you cannot afford to be in running 80 kilometers, and at 60 kilometers, your mind has to be trained. And I trained my mind in order to be strong. I go through the process. I put myself in the situation in my training where I go in such a stress situation that I mentally break down. And at that moment, that's when I pick myself up. And that's where I get strong and I make the adaptations.
It sounds to me like you're talking about real, true visualization.
Yes. You visualize, failure, quitting is not an option. It's not an option for me. There's always an option of how to change something. So a visualization definitely is. And definitely one of the main things is breathing, because there's a lot of anxiety involved in doing something so big. So breathing and visualization definitely plays a role.
With the runners that I sometimes coach, I find out that they have no idea of how to breathe. And we don't even breathe properly when we just do our normal daily
I'm not
tasks.
breathing right now, being on television. I'm like just holding my breath.
You can relax.
No, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like I found that during the day, even people that you sit in front of a computer, you hold your breath. The minute you hold your breath, you decrease your capacity to be successful, to be efficient. And you want to go into that space where it brings calmness over you. And I think in my worst situations, I think that's what carried me through to the next stage.
Lastly, before we say goodbye, what's next for you?
Well, I want to do a race in the Yukon in February, which is like I did this year. I only got to 100 kilometers. It's a 600-kilometer race, self-supported completely.
Yeah.
And you pull a sled, which is like 60 pounds. But I ended up with frostbite and severe hallucinations. So I want to go back and I want to try it again, because I know there's a lot of things I can change. So that is another goal.
We look forward to you knocking that one off as well. Thank you for your time. Really appreciated you being here on Goeiemôre.
Thank you for being here.
Baie dankie.
Thank you.
Bly net waar jy is, want ons leer oor tuinmaak net hierna. Maar ek voel nou baie lus om self te gaan hardloop. Ek hoop jy voel ook so. Maar eers as ons klaar totsiens gesê het hier om by 7:30.